So we are going to install Ubuntu today. There are two things you're going to need: the Ubuntu ISO or the server ISO and pen drive. I'm going to have links down below. You just download those two programs and you're already set. You're going to open the pen drive creator, which is going to allow you to install that ISO onto a USB drive. You're going to select, which I'm showing you here. So we downloaded the pen drive file. We're going to open it. As soon as that opens, you're going to click I agree. You're going to go down and choose Ubuntu or Ubuntu server there. You're going to browse for your ISO file that you downloaded. You're going to click open. Then you're going to go ahead and select your USB drive. Be careful if you select show all drives because you may end up overwriting your hard drive. Click done, click yes. It's going to go through its entire process and write that ISO to that USB drive so that you can reboot and you can install Ubuntu. In my case, on the computer I have, it has Windows 10 on it already, so I'm just going to be doing a side-by-side install. In your case, you may have no operating system on your computer at all, so you're just going to be installing this and you're going to have it erase everything, format the drive, and install Ubuntu or Ubuntu server straight up. Or you could do something else, which is an option, and choose to break out your partitions yourself. But be very careful if you do that, because you certainly can break something and erase all of your data very, very easily. So boom, this was going a lot faster than it will on your machine, because obviously I'm cutting some frames out here. The magic of the internet. But once that's done, you're going to reboot. You're going to hit your delete key. It's going to boot into Ubuntu, and you're going to see these screens here. So I automatically check download updates while installing, and the third-party software to allow for MP3 playing and all of that, and Flash to be built in, because I don't want to have to do that later. But if you don't check those, that's fine. You can always install those packages on your own. So now we're going to click continue. I'm going to install Ubuntu alongside Windows 10. This is what I was talking about. If you don't have an operating system, you can erase the disk and install Ubuntu there. But remember, if you choose that, it's going to erase everything. You can do something else to create your own partitions. I don't recommend that unless you're advanced. So in my case, I'm going to install it side by side. Click continue. This is showing me how it's going to make its own partitions for me, which is fine. It's saving the 488 gigabytes where it's at for my NTFS, and then it's creating my Ubuntu install with 301 gigabytes. This is an old laptop hard drive that I pulled out of a laptop and stuck into a server, so I didn't have to pay for an extra hard drive. It's slow as dirt, but it works fine on a server application. So it's going to tell us before you can select a new partition, any previous changes have to be written to a disk. You can't undo this. Are you sure? Are you crazy? Do you really want to do this? Yes, I do. So what we're going to be doing today is we're going to install Ubuntu, show you how simple that is. Again, just pen drive, download the ISO file, load the ISO file on your USB drive, and then reboot your computer. If your computer isn't searching for a USB and just goes straight into Windows, then you may have to hit something like F11 or go into your BIOS and delete and change your boot order to USB first. It's going to give us another warning here. If you continue, this is really going to happen, and it's telling us about some of the partitions it's going to create, the ext4, the swap, all of that, and we're going to go ahead and click continue. So what we're going to do once we're done installing Ubuntu is load a LAMP server. So we're going to create our very own web server so we can host our own website without having to pay those annoying monthly fees. There's going to be a lot of different videos to do that. So today we're just going to focus on getting Ubuntu on this server and then getting LAMP installed. And LAMP stands for Linux, Apache, MySQL, and PHP. On this screen, we're just going through and choosing keyboard layouts, time zones, that type of thing, very standard stuff. You want to name your computer something that you can remember when you're searching for it. So in my case, let's do Desk Geek Server or Web Server, even more specific. You're going to put your password in. Now you can have it encrypt your home folder and require a password every time. It probably is not a bad idea considering you're going to have to open up one of the ports on your network in order to be able to access your web server externally, which we'll get into in some later videos. But for right now, I'm just going to go ahead and log in automatically because it makes it simpler, and I can change that feature back while I'm doing updates and dealing with constant reboots, since this is a new operating system install. So this is pretty exciting stuff, because if you follow along with these videos, you're going to see how you can develop your own web server. All you have to pay for is a domain, and you can link that up and you can start creating your own content and store it there locally. We're going to show you how to secure your server once we get it up and running in other videos, and it's going to be a ton of fun here. Setting up a LAMP server is just one of those fantastic things to do with a spare computer that you have. It doesn't even have to be a high power computer, especially if you're not expecting a lot of traffic. I do want to apologize for the horribleness of the video here. I had to record it externally and didn't realize the sun was blaring down. Once you hit restart, here we are in Ubuntu. You're going to open your terminal, and here's where we're going to install our LAMP server, and I'm going to show you just how easy this is. It's ridiculous. But first we're going to do a quick update. So we're going to do a sudo, type in sudo space apt get, and then update, so we have the latest files. You're going to have to type in your password each time. That's one of the ways that Ubuntu protects itself from unwanted changes. And once that has fully completed, then it's going to become the point where we install our LAMP software. So any type of website that you want, you can install it here. Really all your creativity, and we'll go through creating websites in HTML as well, but the world is really the limit here. And all I did is I clicked the up arrow here for sudo apt-get update, so it just put the same code in so I didn't have to rewrite it, and I'm just changing that to sudo apt-get install. And then LAMP, that stands for what? The LAMP server for Linux, Apache, MySQL, and PHP. And then you got to do the caret at the end. The caret's the big thing. That's Shift 6 to get the caret after the server. And that's going to install everything for us. And it's going to tell us some prompts. Do you want to use the space to install it? It's going to install MySQL first, the Apache, then the PHP. So now we're at the MySQL. It's asking for our password that we want to use for SQL. I suggested something you can easily remember, because you're certainly going to need it as you're doing some configurations in your database. So now it's going to finish up the install here, and technically we would be good to go. Now you're only going to be able to access this because we haven't opened any ports, we haven't set up any static IPs, which I'll be doing in some later videos. So you'll only be able to access this on a local machine, which is fine because we don't have anything set up or built yet. But I will show you here how you can test to make sure that it's actually working utilizing your IP address. If you need to get your IP address, you're just going to go to the terminal like here and type in ifconfig, and that will give you your IP address that you can type in to test if your server is up and running. Alright, and we are completed. So I know I went through all of this fast, but that's just how simple it is to install Ubuntu. And now we're going to go ahead and we're going to test if our server is working. Notice we didn't have to type any restart commands or anything in. Sometimes you may have to do that, but for the most part we're just going to stick our IP address in here, and we should be good to go. There we go. We've got our Apache 2 Ubuntu default page. You can see the message saying, hey, it works. It also tells you the file location where you can go and mess with that index.html file, which is where your main home page will always be. And in our later videos, we will start going through how you can further configure this and set this up for your very own web server.